Welcome, my friends, to day 3 of AI Advantage. It's a pleasure to be presenting to you this final recap. Day 3 is an absolutely power-packed day, and there's a lot for me to unpack for you. So I won't spend too much time. I'll jump straight into it, and we'll begin to comb through the details. Let's jump straight into it. Day 3. Day 3, we had a couple of new speakers who broke down their own view of the world of AI. We had Amjad, founder of Replit, and we also had Rachel Woods. This is an absolute power-packed session. If I told you I went away with a lot, it would be an understatement. I went away with a treasure trove of awesome material. I'm going to be breaking that down for you tonight, so why don't you tighten your seatbelt, because this is going to be extremely rapid. Again, welcome. Those of you who have been following the recaps, you are going to find a lot of value from today's session. You tonight, so let's jump straight into it. All right. So this session is about catching up on what many call the most forward-looking conversation of the year, a dialogue about intelligence, humanity, and the next wave of transformation. You'll hear insights from 4 powerful minds. You hear from Tony, from Dean, from Amjad, from Rachel. What I'll do here is give you a high-level overview of what each of them discussed. So number 1 was Dean, and Dean opens day 3 with a lot of energy and clarity. He reframes scaling not as doing more, but as simplifying intelligently. It's all about the KISS, keep it simple, sir, keep it simple, sister, mindset. And his message is that true growth happens behind the scenes through systems that quietly multiply output while restoring time for connection and creativity. And at each segment, he introduces our speakers. He talks about how these sessions we've been having have freed up 7.6 million hours, multiplying it for the individuals who attended the seminar. And he says this is our tractor moment. Rachel Woods is the guru of playbooks, and she exposes operational chaos as a system issue, not a people issue. Drawing on her Facebook R&D experience, she introduces AI playbooks, which are step-by-step guides that teach AI to run processes previously requiring a whole lot of human effort. But following Rachel's system, I'm going to show you an example from her system. It is harnessing AI to run these previously human-run processes, thereby freeing up tons of your time. Her newsletter drafting demo, when you get a chance to watch it, will show how to document and define criteria and let AI execute while humans focus on strategy. You see, there's a difference between strategizing and firefighting. A lot of people are doing the firefighting and very little strategizing, which doesn't get a company very far. She urged us attendees to develop AI operator skills, which means design workflows that AIs will run. And her mantra is playbook everything. It's not about working harder, but building frameworks that compound efficiency. Then Dean introduced Amjad Masad, and if you haven't heard of him, he's the founder of Replit. He breaks down how AI is able to be a conduit between ideas and execution. Through conversational coding, users can now describe what they want and have AI agents build it. And I'm going to show you tonight. If you haven't already gotten into vibe coding, this is your night. You better go on down to replit.com because I'm going to show you how you can build your first app using Replit. If you're interested in doing that tonight, you better be going to replit.com because I'm going to be very rapidly showing you the steps in the next 15 minutes when I get done with this overview. Okay? He had a very calm demeanor, a lot of great information shared, very casual interview style, but he dropped some gems. You really want to listen to it. He talks about how a doctor built a $100,000 build. 100,000. Think about that. Someone told the doctor it's going to cost you $100,000 to build his platform, and the poor doctor he said, "I guess that means I'm not going to do this thing." But he stumbled on Amjad and he was able to build that platform for a measly $200. And I've experienced something like that as well. I've approached these developers. I approached a development company out in Pakistan to build me an app, and they said, "Well, Phil, that will cost you tens of thousands of dollars." Well, within a few months, vibe coding and the likes of Replit and Lovable and many more came on the scene. And now you can build apps that would have cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars for pennies on the dollar. It's ridiculous. Amjad's advice to beginners is to experiment freely, whether you are a creative, a musician. Remember Sabrina from yesterday? She's not an artist. But if you go to Blotato, you see it has a solid art flow for creatives. So you got to stop thinking in that confined space. I studied music, so this is all I can do, or I studied economics and that's all I can do. No. You got to get yourself out of that, mental confine and start thinking bigger. For summit attendees, he offered a 30-day Replit trial and challenge. And if you were part of the conference, what I'm going to show you tonight is going to get you ahead of the pack, because I'm going to show you how to build an app from beginning to the end. Okay? He also encouraged us to use our curiosity as a superpower to turn ideas into living systems. All right. And of course, Tony came on and he wrapped it all up, and he closed with a timeless wisdom that knowledge is not power. People often say knowledge is power. Well, he said, it's not the knowledge that's the power. Knowledge is potential power until executed. When you execute on something, when you decide, that's where your decision is amplifying your knowledge. And finally, the execution brings it home. So he said, decision making is the true multiplier in life and business. And he defined real decisions as cutting off alternatives, the opposite of hesitation. His metaphors are like race drivers crash when they're focusing on the wall instead of the road ahead. I don't know if you've ever been taught that trick. Back in the day when we're driving around a curve, the teacher will tell you, don't look anywhere else other than the curve. Don't look outside of the curve where you don't want to go. Look at the road. It's a very interesting metaphor. He says fear and indecision are the real productivity killers. A lot of you have great ideas. I honestly don't know what some of you are waiting for. You now have AI to amplify what you're doing, to bring your ideas home, to give you all the advice till the cows come home. Yesterday, I showed you how with ChatGPT, it can speak in Arabic, it can speak in French, it can speak any language, and it can give you advice. It can give you a blueprint in any language. There's actually no excuse anymore. For students, for professionals, for artists, for creatives, there's no excuse. Because AI can teach you everything you need to know. AI can propel you levels above. Anyway, enough said, you get the idea. So This may be the longest session because I got to break down what Rachel taught and I got to break down what Amjad talked about. The magic in Replit is about to be discovered. So I'm going to jump straight into Replit. Get your Replit open. Get your Replit open, replit.com. I did warn you ahead of time that this was going to happen. I don't know if you did it, but you need to go to replit.com and that button where it says continue with Google, I need you to hit that button and I need you to jump into the next screen with me. Are you ready? Let's see if there are any signs of life. There are no signs of life. Okay, a flicker. A flicker of life out there. Okay, are you ready? Let's jump into Replit and let's begin developing this app. So let's jump straight into Replit. I'm going to show you how to begin vibe coding using this awesome tool created by Amjad. Let's jump straight in. Type in replit.com and it'll take you to Replit. What you want to do at this point is hit sign up on the right hand side over here. And then it'll take you to a screen where you can either sign up with Google or GitHub or X. Let's hit continue with Google. After hitting continue with Google, it asks you to put in your username. So you can go ahead and put in your username and all that good information. When you've put in all that information, you could choose whether to be dark or light in terms of the theme. I'm going to leave it with light and just hit continue. What brings you to Replit? Work projects. Enter all of this information. And you could choose to be under the free plan, the $25 plan or the $40 plan. I'm just going to hit continue with starter. You'll be limited though, but let's go ahead and hit continue with starter. Now we're in here. The question is, what do you want to make? I'll also say that as you get into this tool, you might want to get an add-on for Chrome where you can speak as opposed to type. I find it a lot more efficient. So I'm going to turn on my mic. The microphone that I found to be most efficient is the voice typer. So let's go ahead and I'm going to add this to my Chrome by clicking on add to Chrome. And when you get back into Replit, you should be good to go. Just do a refresh, go to your extensions, and that's it. Voice typer right there. I want to develop an app to help track my rehearsal on the piano, singing, and music making. It should be a simple app to select any of these three categories and log in the time spent in increments of half an hour, the day that it was done, and an overall report. Just very simple. Now I'm done with the command. I'm going to hit start chat, and this is going to tell Replit what I want pretty much in everyday language. So let's hit that. And Replit is reading what I want and it's processing it. As you can see, it says working. I'll help you create a simple practice tracker app for piano singing and music making. Let me design a plan for this straightforward login application. So I was quite particular about telling it I didn't want to go over the top. I wanted it to be simple. Sometimes you have to give it very clear commands so that it doesn't go over the top, building a big old infrastructure that you don't need. So it says I'll include the following features: select practice category, log practice, date picker, practice history, overall summary report, clean musician friendly interface. And I'm going to say I'm okay with that. So I'm going to hit start now. Now, if you haven't already had experience with vibe coding in many of these other apps, you may not be aware of how the interfaces are. They're all very similar. On the right-hand side, we have what's cooking, and on the left-hand side, we have the chats, previous, and also anything else that the system wants to communicate to you will show up on the left. So this right-hand side of the screen will be engaged for a little bit. And as it goes through the different steps in coding, it will show you on the screen what exactly it's thinking, what it's doing. And here it says configured, start application to run npm run dev, and sometimes it just shows you where it is in the process. For this kind of app, I wouldn't expect it to go beyond 3 to 5 minutes. It's a pretty simple app. What Replit does sometimes is it goes into its archives to find out if it has anything similar built, if it has any similar logic built, and it will draw on that experience, obviously, in helping deliver what you're asking for. So it says, I'll create a beautiful practice tracker for you. Let me build a high fidelity prototype. with all the interactive components. And here on the right, it says, this is a visual preview of your application's building blocks. The agent is currently creating a fully interactive version. So we have piano, we have singing, we have music making. And the funny thing is, Replit will not build the same way twice. It will not use exactly the same text twice. So you may ask it to do this in another application or on a different day. Obviously, in another application, you'll get a totally different design. And in this, even if you prompt the same prompt, but on a different day at a different time, maybe just 2 or 3 minutes later, don't expect it to do exactly the same thing. Because I have built this app in the past, and it looks significantly different from this, although it has some of the same features. And that's one of the joys of vibe coding. A lot of times, the output you get is as a result of your intentionality, your repetition, and your iterations. So just so you know, when you are vibe coding, there could be errors and bugs along the way, but that's okay. It knows how to correct itself and bring itself back on track. So now it says, I've created a visual preview of your app. If everything looks good to go, I can start building the functionality. So we got piano, we got singing, music making, we got the duration, we got the date, you can log it. We have the practice summary, which will show you a log of your total hours. And then we have the practice history. And I'm going to say that's cool. So I'm going to say build functionality. So it is following the laws and the ideas behind real coding, where you have a prototype. If the prototype looks good, it's not fully functional. In the world of coding, we could call it a minimum viable product or potentially shippable increment if it had enough functionality. But this is just a straight up prototype. Now, as you begin moving through your development process, you could introduce functionality in increments, thereby having a minimum viable product. And as time goes on, you could keep building on top of this, adding more and more functionality. But for now, we're fine with the minimum functionality. It's a minimum viable product. And of course, we could add more instruments. We could add saxophone, trombone. We could add a drop down to just select whatever you did. But this was just an idea that came to mind, and I wanted to use this to illustrate what exactly it could do. So anyway, it's assessed what's going on here. And as you vibe code, you want to pay close attention to not only the right. The right is all the eye candy stuff, but you also want to pay attention to the left, because on the left, that's where you have the latest status, what is going on with your coding. Sometimes it could get stuck, it could get confused, and you as the vibe coder would need to debug it in some way by just clicking solve the problem, right? Or resolve, or whatever the pop-up says. Even when your app is fully developed, there are times you run into a bottleneck, and that shouldn't shock you, scare you, or surprise you. It's just the way software is. There could be an adjustment that happens in any affiliated system, and that could suddenly cause your app to not work. But what you would do in that instance is just tell the tool what's going on, what you're seeing. Sometimes you may need to take a screenshot and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Because remember, it has computer vision. It has an understanding that is way above what computers back in the day had. Now, your computer is like having thousands of experts who know how to solve the problem. So be rest assured the problem will be solved. So it says, review the back-end and front-end implementation. It's pretty much like talking to itself. You don't have to take any action here, but the ideology behind vibe coding is you're vibing with the tool, and the tool is kind of chatting back to you if you understand coding to tell you, hey, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing, this is how much I have left. The cool thing about Replit is it has a lot of back-end functionalities that are integrated into your tool that if you were to publish it when it's done, you could just go ahead and publish straight up. Just publish your app and it would be live. And you can incorporate payment systems and many other tools that have APIs in the world of AI. They can be incorporated to this, such as running a report, sending a report to an email, all that stuff. All right, so it's moving quite well. It says I'm starting a browser to begin testing. So again, all the things that you would go through, doing all those black box tests or unit tests, while not as explicit as what a human might do, it could do many, many more runs and iterations than a human could in a short piece of time. So consider it to be a one-stop shop automated system to not only help you analyze, develop, all the code, but also to test and then to implement. So this is like your IT shop, all in a box, all on your computer. It is really amazing what vibe coding allows us to do as solopreneurs, entrepreneurs. Gone are the days when you would have an idea and you wouldn't know how to implement the app or the idea. Now the sky's the limit. What I'm doing here, mind you, You can see it's developed the browser and it's doing its tests. It's working. But what this is doing, you could also do in a tool, a common tool, such as Gemini.google.com. Gemini.google.com can create a similar app. However, the storage of the data would be another step you would need to take with Gemini. You would need like Firebase, which can be very extensive and quite laborious. And that's why if you're looking to create apps, I would recommend something like this. You also have Lovable. There are other apps, other systems that can help you develop. But since this was talked about during the conference, I wanted to present it. You can see that it's still working. It's still doing its... Okay. It's almost done with its testing. It said I've logged all 3 practice types. And it seems like it has succeeded in what it was doing. And it should be cleaning up the testing. Once it's done with that, I'll take it for a test run and you'll see we built an app right in front of your face in Replit. And you can see it simulating what a user would do, putting in the text, entering it, and viewing it. Truly remarkable. And you can see it's coming to an end of its analysis. It says the Practice Tracker app passed all its main tests. You can log practice sessions for piano, singing, and music making. See them appear in your history, and your summary stats update correctly, blah, blah, blah. They're just 2 tiny things to note. Sometimes the success messages that pop up disappear too quickly to be checked by the system, and the page title has a little extra text. So you can see it is pretty detailed in giving you a report back on what happened. Your practice tracker is ready to use. Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and let's get rolling. Now, the last thing here, it's telling you to go ahead and publish. But you know what's going to happen when you click on open publishing if you want it to publish? You need a subscription. So you can see a publishing button down here. It's trying to guide you on what to do next, because this app, you can play with it all day long within your own instance of Replit. But if you want to share it with the world, you gotta publish. And it's telling you upgrade your plan to publish. You get what I'm saying? So you got to choose either the $25 or the $40 if you wanted to publish. Okay, and that is $25 per month. If you choose yearly, then it's $20 a month. And then you've got the higher option, the $35 for teams. Okay, let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see what you're paying for. So you've got all of these items. Okay, and nothing stops you from at least trying out one before looking to move to the other. Okay, you can always upgrade. All right, so with that understood, let's go back to preview. Okay, the top left, just you can toggle between publishing and preview. So here, this is preview. We're going to say we did piano for 1.5 hours. And it's logged. Don't even need to ask it to log. Let's use a different day. Let's say we did something on the 5th. Let's say we did singing and 2.5 hours. And boom, it's logged. Just like that. Now, I could go back and take a look at my history. Let's do the last one. Music making. Let's say this happened on the 3rd, some time ago. Okay. And how many hours did I put in? Say I put in 3 hours. So that logs it, even without you pressing log practice session. Now I could go back in and I could say, hey, you need to hit log practice session before it registers. Don't just register it because I clicked on 3 hours. You get what I'm saying? I could probe it like that. So I could say, using my inbuilt microphone, let's see, test. Okay, voice typer. Voice typer has gone on vacation. Try it again. All right. It's not listening. So I could just say log practice session seems to work without clicking on the button. Seems like duration button overrides log practice session. So you got to vibe with it. You know, this is what vibe coding is about. It's going back and forth. If I don't show you this, I wouldn't be telling you the true picture. See? So it says, you're right. The time selector buttons are accidentally submitting the form. Let me fix that. Those buttons need to be marked as type equal button so they don't trigger form submission. Decided on submission logic. Okay? And you can see it's still working. When it's working, I don't like interrupting it. I don't like clicking anything. I like it finishing its thoughts. Otherwise, you can have greater problems. So it's starting a browser again to test what has been developed and to see if it holds. So let's wait for it to finish. Now, something I should let you be aware of is even though it seems to have been following through with my commands, it's telling me, hey, you are approaching the starter plan usage limit. Upgrade for more. I've used 80% just with this tiny little app. So I want you to understand this is really just for you to understand how the tool works. You see, it says I've tested it, everything's working correctly. So let's try again. Sing-in, 2 hours, good. It didn't submit it. Now I can log the sing-in on the day I actually did it. There you go. Good stuff. And the practice history is there. It shows me the date. Piano, let's say I did 1.5 hours. And I can log when I did it. Boom. And that's how you develop an app in Replit. Now, publishing, once you publish it, all of the other things you need to do along with the publishing will be made very clear. Let's expand it so that you can see. Now, if someone was logging into this app on a computer, well, this is what it would look like. A fully functional app in minutes. Also, bear in mind, if you wanted to know what it would look like the difference between a computer and a phone, you can click on this. You could ask, okay, iPhone 17, what would it look like? And there we go. This is what it would look like. So it's a very solid system to show you when you're logging in on a phone or a tablet. Let's see. Pretty much just the phones here. So all these types of phones are full size. But nonetheless, that's it, my friends. So over the past number of minutes, you've been watching how to develop your app in Replit. And it was free. This was a free job. I think it cost 50 cents. 50 measly cents to develop an app that could be life-changing. Do you kind of get what Tony and Dean are talking about? AI can change your life. It can change the game. Now let's go in for the kill. Let's finish everything that we have to talk about, but we got to talk about Rachel Wood's presentation because, oh my goodness, that was knocking it out of the park. But I want to see if there are any questions. If you've got any questions about vibe coding or about Replit, make sure you drop it in the chat for me. Don't leave without dropping your questions. I want to take your questions live before we jump off. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of the session. What did I say? Day 2, we focused on mindset and execution. Day 3, we focused on scaling. Dean made it very clear that in order to scale, you got to KISS. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, sister. Simplify, systemize, and scale with AI as your operational engine. The main quote, scaling isn't more chaos, it's clarity. Simplify to multiply. When you keep things so simple and you're able to break it down for your AI tool, you're going to be able to multiply. Build invisible AI-driven systems on the back end and use AI for repeatables. Focus on what's irreplaceable. So you as the human in the loop, you are irreplaceable. AI is replaceable, right? Use AI for repeatables. And that brings us to the talk from Rachel Woods, from processes to playbooks. In her mind, she says you got to identify operational debt. Her system turns tacit know-how into documented AI flows. And each playbook, and I'm going to show you an example of a playbook, creates a compounding efficiency loop. In her case study, diagnostic service of a 30-hour typical duration was shortened to 5 hours. Can you imagine that? Something that would take a firm 30 hours now takes just 5 hours. Mind-blowing. So what is her method? Number 1, map your process steps. Whether you are a musician, whether you're an artist, whether you're a lawyer, doctor, an engineer, what happens on the back end of your systems, of your business, you got to map those process steps. And, that's one of the biggest sins in business. A lot of people, they have last documented their processes 2 decades ago, or they just never have. So what she's saying is you got to write how to do each step with examples and criteria. Why? Because your AI tool is going to absorb it. Remember, your AI tool is the genie in the bottle. I don't think some of you remember what I said yesterday. Let me make it clear. You are carrying around an Einstein, a Steve Jobs, a Rembrandt, a Picasso, a Mandela. You're carrying around all that brain power in your pocket. So when you teach your AI at step 2, when you write how to do all these things, step 3, you give it to your AI and you let AI run the playbook. The result is going to be a library of repeatable AI systems. One of the things Rachel said is if you're doing it twice, you got to playbook it. Playbook whatever you're doing twice. And this just shows you how to unlock the power of delegation. And when I heard Rachel speak, I said, okay. I see what I can maximize in my music creation process. I see what I can optimize if I had a record label. And I just got a light bulb epiphany moment. I got an epiphany moment. I hope you will as well. But I'm going to give you an example here based on Rachel's talk, the automated client report generation, how you can get 30 hours to 5 hours, or how you can get 5 hours to 45 minutes, however you want to spin it. So the objective in all that she's been talking about is to eliminate repetitive manual reporting and standardize client updates. Now, I don't know if you were ever into the world of macros in Microsoft, because back in the day, if that was part of what you studied or learned long time ago, macros were the automated way of getting a lot of stuff done. But macros went away, and look, we have AI, which is even wildly more powerful than macros. They make macros look like the 7 dwarfs. Anyway, so Rachel's mantra is you got to playbook everything. Operational chaos isn't a personality trait. It's a system problem. And it's true. It's a system problem. It's more than just one person. So these are the steps that she kind of outlined as you're trying to optimize that report creation process. Number 1, every Friday at 9 a.m., the AI is going to run the weekly report workflow. And you got to identify what the inputs are, whether it's a project name, client name, date range that the report is going to focus on. Step 2 is gather the information. AI collects data from connected tools. Keyword being connected. So if you're running this big old operation in a company, all of those sources, whether it's Asana, Trello, Google Sheets, CRM, Slack, email threads, whatever it is, your AI is going to be able to gather all of that. And there are ways you connect your AI to these tools. Examples of tools: Zapier, ChatGPT, Claude, Notion AI, all of these can be used in whatever you're trying to achieve. So step 3 is a draft. The AI generates a first draft. The summary could be this week's progress, upcoming milestones, any risks or mitigations, and key metrics. And the prompt example is summarize the collected data into a concise one-page executive update in a positive client-friendly tone. That is loaded. That is a loaded statement. Now, what makes AI so powerful is the data you give it. It is only as good as the data you give it. Have you ever heard that data is king? Great data is God? Have you ever heard that? So you got to give it great data. And when you give it great data, I tell you, the results are amazing. Step 4 is going to be polish. The project manager reviews and adds human nuance. You can adjust the tone and the style to fit what you know about the client. Attach the charts, the visuals, verify accuracy, use Grammarly, use Notion AI, and WordTune. Step 5, deliver. AI emails or uploads the finalized PDF to the client folder. Auto follow-up reminder sent for Monday feedback. And again, you can use all these tools. Step 6, you got to review. How good is our process working? Is our process really doing it? Is it better than we humans? Is it just as good? But it's good to take a look at the monthly report to understand the time saved, log client feedback, if it's favorable or not, adjust prompts, update data sources. A lot of you creatives, you might have worked in the real business of music, and these executives, they want all of the information about which records did well last week, which didn't do so well, what is at the top of the charts. All this stuff can be automated regardless where you work. And in this example, Errors reduced 83%, client consistency score 30% plus. So I want you to go really listen to what Rachel said. It's a very short talk, but it's extremely powerful. If something happens more than twice, you got to playbook it. Operational chaos disappears when clarity becomes culture. And this playbook showcases how documenting processes allows AI to manage recurring work efficiently. You got to identify those data sources, though. Once you've done that, you are on your way. You are on your way. All right. The next speaker was Amjad, and I've already spent almost 20 minutes on Replit. He's a founder of Replit. He empowers the non-coders to dream and to execute, to ship ideas fast, to speak requirements, as I showed you. Yeah? And just watch your AI build in real time, just like I showed you a few moments ago. So that was Amjad's talk, and I have shown you the tool. Seeing is believing, right? I've shown you the tool. This stuff isn't made up. I built an app right in front of you. Now, when you want to publish, as you can see over here, it says you've got to upgrade. When you do upgrade, right? When you do upgrade, you're going to have access to manage the back end of your app. You're going to be able to distribute your app. And honestly, for $25 a month, are you kidding? When an organization wanted to charge you tens of thousands of dollars to do it, you better jump on the paddy wagon. You better. All right, so that's all about Replit and Amjad. And then we had Tony. Tony came in for the big finish. Like I said, knowledge is not power. Execution is power, right? There are a lot of people that are paralyzed by analyzing. They just sit down there, oh, well, if I did this, people are going to say X, Y, Z. My friends are going to criticize me. People are going to say I'm... Just execute. Forget the people. Execute for your own sanity's sake. You don't want to find yourself at 78 and saying, I wish I had done this when I was 50. No, I wish I had done it when I was 30. No, I wish I had done it when I was 20. Are you kidding me? Now's the time. I don't care whatever your dream is. Now is the time. There is no longer an excuse. Gone are the days of, oh, I wish I could have done it. This is the great enabler. Are you kidding me? When I look at how much volume I get done, like last couple of weeks on this channel, one of our awesome subscribers, Beatology, said, Phil, I think you should develop a mental health app. And as a result of his influence, not only did I develop the mental health app, which I have not released, it's a mental health app for musicians, but I was able to pull it off real quick, not only because he gave me a great idea and I listened, but I went further and wrote a book called Musician's Doctrine. You can find it on Amazon. I was able to get all my ideas out in seconds. I got all my ideas out and I did exactly what Rachel was talking about. I taught my AI my process. I taught it my process. I spoke to it. I let it understand what has been inside my mind for many, many years. I let it know how I would mentor, coach, and train other musicians about mental health. And the results, while I was looking to develop an app, I was able to see the pattern and I playbooked it. And you folks on the channel, one day you will get to see that app. But the book, which is a byproduct, I was able to get it done like that. Why? Because AI is a great amplifier. If you have ideas, if you have volumes of information and frameworks going on in your head, and all you're doing is sitting down on it, what are you doing? That's all I'm going to ask you. What are you doing in this world of AI? Are you kidding me? Some of you are still waiting to release your first piece of music. I'm talking about capable playing musicians, just like me. I'm talking about people. Some of those people can run circles around me on the piano. Are you kidding me? Some of those people can play till the cows come home. Now, I'm not a bad musician myself. I can hold my own on the piano. But I'm telling you, some of the people who are refusing to act on their dreams, They're much more accomplished than I am. You know, playing music is like life to me, right? And that's why I've got one of these here. You can't see it, but I assure you, this is a piano. This is the joy that I get being a musician. I love to play the piano. I love to make noise on the thing. And I love to create music. Let's turn it on so people can hear the piano a little bit. All right, enough of that. You get the idea. Music is my life. I love music. But I got to take action in order to make an impact with my music. You know what I'm saying? All right, enough said. I know I'm preaching to the choir. I just wanted to preach to the choir because we are almost done. We're pretty much done here. So, my friends, in rounding up, this is the takeaway. Here's the final, the big hurrah. The final. Day one was mindset. Understand that everything is possible as long as you execute on it. The mindset needs to be AI is a new lease on life. Day two, execution. Get it done. Stop being paralyzed by analyzing. I guess I will. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe next year. Some of you have been saying that for years. Come on now. Do it. Some of you have been wanting to visit that friend. You better do it. You got to execute on your ideas. It could be a disposition. It could be an idea. It could be a mission. But AI is the great amplifier, my friends. Day three, scale, systems, processes, and procedures, put them in place. As a result of me attending this seminar, I got a totally new brainwave, like killer brainwave. And I really hope those of you who attended the seminar are getting similar brainwaves of what you can do with your creativity. See, where people get it wrong, they think AI is a barrier to creatives, or it's a barrier to people. It's stealing the jobs. It reminds me of they're eating the dogs, which was a big lie. AI is stealing the jobs. No, it's not. It's not stealing your job. AI is helping those who are willing to help themselves. All right? And you help yourself by attending seminars like this, by learning more than what you're comfortable with. A lot of you, I know you're comfortable with Suno. You used to be comfortable with Udio, but you're not anymore. But you're comfortable with some of these tools. The moment I begin talking about vibe coding, everybody's gone for lunch. You better go learn vibe coding, my friend. I'm trying to teach my kids vibe coding. You got to learn. Look, vibe coding is going to become the order of the day. I don't know if you folks remember, like way back in the early 2000s, everybody was talking about Microsoft because they had these certifications called MCSEs, and they were wildly popular. And then they became so commonplace. What am I even talking about? Let's talk about the 90s. You remember when it was a big deal if you could use word processing software? Not anymore. That's even too recent. Let's talk about the typewriter. My dad had one of those things. Who uses a typewriter anymore? Well, I guess some people do. They like, I actually have a mentor who still uses his typewriter. But jokes apart, there's no excuse anymore. AI technology has radically changed the playing field. And if you refuse to execute, you don't have anyone other than yourself to blame. But don't play the blame game. Right? Just get it done. Do something. All right, my friends, that's all I've got for today. I told you it was going to take a little bit. We've taken about 48 minutes today, which isn't bad considering we took something similar yesterday, but I thought we're going to spend a lot more time. But in closing, have that mindset, execute, scale. There is no reason why your ideas should stay stuck in your head, right? I invite you to codify everything that you've learned. Write it out. Go over my videos again and again, because I know some of you ain't got time to watch a 4-hour video, which is why I'm doing this for you. But for those of you who can, go to Dean's page, right? At Dean Graziosi, go to his page, watch the videos, attend the seminar again and again. I mean, I was beside myself when I realized, free? This, you're giving away this seminar for zero? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Well, I appreciate you. Hey, Mr. Thank you for coming through, man. How you doing? Mr. is, again, one of my great ideas people, because he gave me a great idea that I took and I implemented in an app the very same day. Isn't that true, Mr.? Didn't I take your idea and build an app for the members community? That same day he told me, I'm Mr. Execute. I don't waste time. When I hear a good idea, I know a good idea. And he gave me a good idea. Tell me, what were the apps again? He gave me ideas for a crafting app that will allow you to master your music, choose the parameters, the tempo, and things like that. He gave me 2 very good app ideas, which I executed immediately. And I hope that you folks will do the same. I know some of you might say, Phil, Replit is too expensive. I understand it's expensive, but I showed you yesterday how you could use Common Gemini. Common Gemini. Gemini is free. Remember? I showed you yesterday how to. Let's go down memory lane just for good old time's sake. Let me go to Gemini, but I don't want to steal Replit's thunder, so I want to steal Replit's thunder, but let me show you, for those of you who might have forgotten. Let's have a very quick Gemini 101. I don't want you to go away thinking this is not affordable, Phil. Look at how expensive Replit is. Replit is too expensive. $20 a month. $20 a month isn't a lot of money. $35. No. It's actually not that expensive. All right, so let's go to gemini.google.com. Let me teach you how to develop an app real quick. Very quick app. Follow me. All right, let's go to Canvas. Watch this. Build me an app that can create 3 pieces of content: short form, long form text, and images. Also, throw in audio using Google's API. I want a high quality voice to give me an audio file of the content, and it doesn't have to be more than 3 minutes. Can you build that? You see what I did there? I'm talking to it like it's a human, because it's a natural language processor, right? And then over here, you want to choose Canvas. That's all you need to do. Boom, your app is being developed. It's being coded, whether it ends up using HTML or JavaScript or JScript, Python, whatever it is, it's going to build that thing. And you saw what happened in Replit. You know, with Replit, it immediately split the screen into 2, right? Showed you the left and the right. Well, that's pretty much what Gemini does as well. Boom, there's your right screen, right in the code, like a rabid developer. And before you know it, you got your code, and you're going to get your preview in seconds. In seconds. You don't even, have to say I'm limited by Replit. You see, my goal is not for you to just get another subscription. No. My goal, similar to the organizers of the AI Advantage, is for you to leverage the power of AI to free up your time. I think yesterday I showed you how to be, boom, there's your content creator. There it is. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to put in, let's see, I don't know if it understood. AI in music and the Suno dilemma. All right, give me some short text and give me some long text. You know, I keep telling people AI knows everything. It knows everything. Boom, look at it. Look at it. AI music is booming, spearheaded by accessible tools like Suno, blah, blah, blah. And it says create audio from this text. It's giving you some options. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the default, create audio. I can also choose create image. I can just create whatever I like to my heart's content. Now, I will mention though, okay, this is a generated image. Boom. It even wrote Suno on the reel to reel. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And then here's the audio. I don't think the audio went very far. I think it got hung up somehow. But if you spend enough time at it, you can just say audio not found. Please fix. I mean, this is what vibe coding is all about. It's you, the human in the loop, troubleshooting, finding out what didn't work, challenging the tool to get it right, to fix it. You could even go as far as taking a screenshot of what you're seeing and feeding it back to the AI, and the AI will fix it as much as it can, and you just go back and forth until it's done its job. That's what vibe coding is. But you got to persist and be in it for the long haul. Let's do this again. AI in music. Let's do the short text. I'll try not to overload it. I'll ask it for one thing at a time. Boom, there's a generated text. And let's hit create audio. And if this model doesn't work, you can always choose another and just keep going. But what I'm trying to show you, this would have taken days and weeks before 2022 for a coder to make something half as sensible. It's still not getting it. And I don't really know much about these models. Let's try again. I think these are different models. But I could tell it just used Google's LLM and it would have to get it right. But this is a good example because a lot of people, let's see if I click on a wave. Let's see. Did it actually work? Let's check it out. Did it work? Okay. There's definitely something going wrong with the coding, but I mean, with Gemini, you just have to persist because I did develop this same app just a few hours ago. Let me see if I can find the other version of it. And it's also a very good masterclass for you to understand that problems are solvable, but you just got to stay at it. You got to stay at it. What I did as I was creating this earlier, and it was giving me this poor response, I just stayed at it. And I kept probing it and telling it what to do until it finally got it done. So let's see. And I call this my content zapper. I got this idea, believe it or not, by attending the conference because Sabrina shared something similar that she had done. And I thought, wow, let's see if Google can actually do this. So here we are. As you can see, this is Gemini. It's still Gemini. So if this is what I developed. This was the command, right? And let me see if maybe after the session, I will post this exact command in the chat. So you can see how I was able to get to this. But here we go. Let's just type in Suno in trouble in court. And let's go ahead and copy this and just put it in here. And we're gonna just press zap it, boom, zap it. It's gonna zap it. Uh-oh. Seems like one of our friends, hey, Mister, you are just too much, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing that, man. You are the man of the hour. Thank you so much. Wow. You are the man. You are the man. That's all I'm going to say. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. I see Jeff. Jeff, how you doing? Jeff said, Sooner version 5 has been incredible. A lot of my voice memos from years ago and songs that have been dead on a dead on a hard drive are actually coming to life. I love it, man. I love it. Well done. Well done. Jeff said, this is why I use it as a tool as a musician, not just as a solution to a problem. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Mister. You keep me inspired. You gave me 2 apps and you're always spoiling me with all of these gifts. I appreciate it. And honestly, it inspires me to want to keep showing up, man. It inspires me. Thank you. All right. So there's what I built. I know some folks may not believe it, but this is Gemini. Believe it or not, this is Gemini. So what did it do? It gave me this generated image. Let me make it a bit bigger so you can see it. Will it let me? Okay, well, there it is. It generated that image. It gave me this short form content for a TikTok reel, you seeing. And then it gave me this long form content for a blog, which is ridiculous. And then, as if that wasn't enough, it seems to have given me some audio. And this is what I wanted to show you, the audio.
Suno in trouble. Title: AI and IP Legal Showdown. Time seconds. VO.
So anyway, long story short is one prompt in Gemini of all things gives you the power to create image, text, and who would have thought it? I know you folks wouldn't have thought it, but it gives you audio as well. You see, all for free. $0. Zero. Oh my goodness. Oh. You are the best. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff says, without your videos, I would have been lost in how to use everything. Wow. It's a pleasure and honor. I just want to make a difference. I want my fellow musicians and creatives to just have a blast, with creativity. That's why I get a little bit offended when people fail to realize how far-reaching AI is. It's not just helping musicians like us, but it's also helping non-musicians be creative in coming up with an idea and a concept. And a lot of these folks may have mobility limitations. They may have cognitive disabilities, but music changes it all for them. You get what I'm saying? I was just reading one of our subscribers' messages to me this evening, and this individual was complaining about how the visual arts community can be a bit hypocritical in that they think of AI as being off limits for them, and they get mad when other visual artists use AI. It seems like it's in all industries though, but this person said, when my arms failed me, AI was the amplification I needed. When my arms couldn't hold a paintbrush or draw or do what they needed to do on the canvas. And I could understand immediately because I had serious rotator cuff issues. I was a gym junkie. I used to lift. But the moment that rotator cuff thing hindered me, I could barely hold a pen. So there are people with these mobility limitations. I'm better now, but there are people with mobility limitations that they can't do what other people do, and AI gives them wings. I said we got to challenge Red Bull. Red Bull, I think we got to take the title away from you. We got to give the title to Suno. We got to give the title to Suno. Oh my goodness. All right, my friends. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Much appreciation. I appreciate you very much, Mr. and Jeff. Thank you for coming through. For those of you who have not joined the AI Creatives group, you got to be a subscriber. What are you waiting for? Be a subscriber. Let me share some interesting news. 2026 Q1, we are going to be having an AI Creative Summit. And we're going to be sharing a lot of secrets. And probably before then, a major workflow as a result of this awesome conference. I'm going to unleash that thing. And those of you creatives, you're going to be happy about it. I'm very sure you're going to be happy because there are great things in store. The skeptics and the trolls will say, how dare you even say creative next to AI? People don't understand English language. What does it mean to be creative? That's what I need to ask them. Being creative has nothing to do with it's only reserved for those in the arts. It's foolish. No. Creativity is all about the ability to create, the ability to make something out of nothing. And if you have an idea and you've got a tool to help you generate the idea in full color, it's dumb. I was listening to Jermaine Dupri yesterday. I was a little bit disappointed in Jermaine because I thought he would know better, and he was coming at Timbaland. And I know Timbaland has had his own run-ins with using work that is not his in Suno. Yes, I agree. But he was a bit ignorant on stuff because he thought all you needed to do in AI was hit a button or prompt. And I'm like, have you been under a rock? You think AI music is just about textual prompts? Bro, you need to come for my class. Let me school you. What he failed to understand was a lot of musicians, like one of our friends, I was on his live earlier, SOJ. He just started working with AI music very recently, but he's very entrenched in the world of traditional gospel, of real, the Hawkins and those kind of things, that kind of music, Andre Crouch, and I could go on and on. But just listening to some of the things he did is amazing. But you know what he does? He sequences, he creates. He does it in FL Studio. He does all his stuff in a DAW, and then he takes it out of the DAW, and what he gets out of the DAW sounds really good. He gets like real singers to sing this stuff, really good singers. And he takes the output from the DAW and puts it into Suno. And oh my goodness, when I listened to what came out of Suno, I said, are there other people singing that? Because that sounds like something right out of Nashville. It sounds like something right out of deep down in Alabama. I tell you, it sounded so authentic. I said, no, it was the prompt I put in. So what Jermaine is missing, he thinks everything is just prompt. And I think a lot of people are also grossly uninformed about AI and music. They think AI in music is just about typing prompts, mindless prompts at that. Because even though you write your prompt, you still got to know quite a bit about what you want. But beside that, you can prompt in AI by singing. You can prompt in AI by giving it full chordal harmonies. You can prompt in AI by giving it pretty much a finished track, but it doesn't have enough polish on it. So when he played, our friend SOJ played the before, it was great. But when he played the after, oh my goodness, it's like, you know, when you go to the car wash and you have the measly $5, the $5 car wash versus the $20. I mean, the difference is always clear. So without Suno, it's like a $5 car wash. With Suno, it's the same car, but the polish on that thing is ridiculous. That's how I see Suno. It's not to say that the song isn't great. It's great. But Suno adds polish. Suno didn't give you the original idea. It could if you're kind of like a lazy musician, but I don't use that functionality of Suno. And a lot of people don't. So hearing Jermaine talk about AI, I'm like, yeah, he doesn't get it the same way a lot of people haven't tried to learn to understand and get it. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox. Brother Jermaine, go learn about AI. It's going to help you. He would be amazed if he heard what AI could do to some of his bagging tracks. Because you know he's a crazy producer himself. And I understand about wanting to protect the sanctity of art and music, but there's no escaping it. It's coming. It's already here. UMG done drink the Kool-Aid. UMG knew. It's just that they drank a different kind of Kool-Aid. I like that they drank some Kool-Aid, but I don't like the flavor they drank. They drank the Udio aid. Look, I need to go to bed. Folks, thank you very much for joining me. I had a blast talking to y'all, and I wish you all the very best in your creativity. Yeah, Jermaine was hating on poor Timbaland. And I know people are going to say, what do you mean by poor Timbaland, his music? You know, let me just speak to the haters again, because I know he's gotten a lot of hate. And as a musician, right, who is from the school of Herbie Hancock, who has gone through, I was one of the first reviewers of Herbie's course on Masterclass. When they came out with that course, they said, hey, would you be willing to review it? So I was one of the final reviewers of Herbie Hancock's course. But part of what I took away from Herbie Hancock is his philosophy. Musicians are rivers. And if you harbor hate, you're sending out a hate message in your music. You may not know it, but you are. So try to come at people with the benefit of the doubt and with empathy. I'm not saying don't call out wrong when it is wrong, but I'm saying go to the school of Herbie Hancock. You'll understand what I'm going on about. Judio. Yep, don't do a Judio. All right, my friends, thank you all very much. I wish you all the best in your creativity. Stay creative and stay optimistic.
No grand words, just a steady grace. Meeting your eyes in the shared space.